Why don't we go next to, oh, I don't know. How about Vince from Wisconsin? Vince from Wisconsin, welcome to the program. What's on your mind today? Vince from Wisconsin, I've invited you, but you must accept my invitation in order to participate.
Yeah.
Hey,
All right. Perfect. Perfect. Had to fiddle with the setting for it real quick. What we got on.
good.
Obviously, I am also supporting Biden. I had a potentially confrontational question, depending on how you
Please,
answer it.
please.
So, what is your opinion on this whole business of people passing some sort of like test to vote?
It seems to me to be unconstitutional. That's kind of my opinion. Now, listen, I'm going to be totally honest with you. If I was trying to figure out a way for the left to win more elections, my instinct is that imposing such a requirement helps the left. Now, you could come back and say, David, you are wrongly assuming that people on the left would be more likely to pass such a test than people on the right. I'm assuming that. I may be wrong. But if I'm honest, I think it's probably not a constitutional thing to do. The right to vote, if one is old enough, seems pretty absolute.
Okay, I agree with that. Perfect.
It also would
That's a
be
very
hypocritical, I think, by the way, if we on the left are saying, hey, we don't like the idea of stripping voting rights from felons. We can't say that, but then also say we want to put in a test for voting. So, I would worry about that double standard as well.
Oh yeah, I fully agree with that. I was just
Yeah.
wondering, I wasn't sure because of at the end of your Vivek Ramaswamy interview, you were like, oh, maybe for the whole country, not just for 18 to 25. But
Well, yeah, I mean, but that's more because if you really want to impose a voting test, do it not just in a way that would obviously help you test everyone, but I'm not actually in
right.
favor of such a test.
Okay, good. I was just thanks for the clarification.
Yeah.
Would you mind if I ask another brief question?
Sure, go ahead.
So we all know that the right, I mean, they love projection, right? So
Sure.
like they say Democrats want to steal the election, they're actually trying to steal the election, you
Yes.
know? Well, like could you explain like why they have this compulsive need to do that?
Well, I think it's two things. One is at a calculated level, if you want cover for what you're doing, you accuse the other side of doing it, right? I mean, so I think it's pretty simple in that way. But there's probably like a deeper truth, which is to some degree, some on the right think it's okay when they do it in the sense that the ends justify the means. And because their worldview is correct and the left's is wrong, it would be wrong for the left to try to steal an election. But for them, it would be right because at the end of the day, they know what's good for the country and the world. I think there's like an implicit arrogance in it.
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. All right,
Yeah.
well thanks a lot, David. Appreciate it.
All right, Vince from Wisconsin, great to hear from you. Why don't we go next to, oh, I don't know, let's go to Columbus, Ohio, where we have a caller named Anthony who is currently undecided about the 2024 election. Anthony, welcome to the program. What's on your mind?
Yeah, hey David. I'm just I was thinking about what your opinions are on the legalization of psychedelics because we just legalized weed in Ohio, and it got me thinking about what the next like steps are, I suppose, for
Yeah.
that. What are your takes on that whole issue?
Listen, from the research I've done, this isn't my top issue, but we've interviewed people like Rick Doblin and others who are studying this. My sense is there seems to be real promise in the combination of psychedelics at low doses with therapy for PTSD, different types of trauma, anxiety, and depression. There seems to be a lot of promise. I'm
Yeah.
very much, I mean, listen, decriminalization, obviously, and then very quickly with all but the most hardcore drugs, heroin, cocaine, etc. I tend to move relatively quickly in the direction of legalize, regulate, treat addiction as a health issue. That tends to be my approach on these things.
It should be. I've seen people's lives be saved because of our propensity to treat addiction as a disease in this country recently.
Is that right?
Yeah, yeah, it saves a lot of people. Just the treatments that we have available. One that comes to mind is for opiate use disorder. We may prescribe Suboxone, which
Yes.
takes away somebody's withdrawal and allows them to live their life in a healthy way.
Right. Hey, tell me, so you're undecided between who right now?
Yeah, so I'm a leftist. I just am having trouble deciding on who to vote because I'm not particularly impressed with Biden.
Okay.
So I'm trying to decide if it's even worth it to vote third party, or I really like for some reason I'm blanking on his name at the moment, but the guy
Hmm.
from the Young Turks, I really like what he stands for.
Now, legally he can't be president, right?
Yeah, see, I heard you talk a little bit about that, and is that completely decided already?
It's completely decided. His argument is he might be able to get a case to the Supreme Court and then they'll decide he can be president. But that
Yeah.
doesn't sound very realistic in the next 10 and a half months, you know?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, Cenk is awesome, but yeah, if he can't be president, then that's out of the
So
question.
then let me ask you this, Anthony. You're undecided. You're voting in Ohio. Ohio's a critical state.
Yep.
Do you think that if Trump had another 4 years, it really would be a bad thing?
Um, Honestly, probably, but I'm not. I see. I have a little brother who's a Trump supporter, and he tells me about certain things that Trump has done that were great, and yada yada.
Uh-huh.
And he always asks me in a debate sort of way, like, "Oh, well, what has he done that's wrong?" And I honestly, I'm see, I'm not extremely political, so oftentimes I will not know how to answer a question. What would you
Sure.
say if somebody asked you that?
If someone said, "What did Trump do wrong?"
Yeah,
Okay,
like
he
name the
miss
name the worst things he did.
it would take so there's two sides. There's policy and then there is sort of the intangibles. On the intangibles, Trump globally humiliated the United States, jeopardized our alliances with historical Western allies while cozying up to dictators and making it so that other countries wouldn't even think of the US as a legitimate and important participant in so many different issues, including climate, foreign policy,
Oh
etc.,
yeah.
while simultaneously debasing himself and political discussion. So, okay, that's one thing. As far as policy goes, you could go on trade. He put in place tariffs on China that didn't do the thing he said they would do and spent endless resources telling us he was going to fix NAFTA, but instead he replaced NAFTA with something that's almost identical. Total
Oh,
waste of
didn't
time.
he outsource a bunch of jobs in the process?
Yes, he did.
Yeah.
On healthcare, he was going to replace Obamacare with something good. Instead, he did nothing while allowing Obamacare to be weakened, ultimately proposing a plan that would have led to 24 million people losing health insurance. On
Okay,
immigration,
that's a big
he
one.
provided nothing permanent for DACA recipients while scaling up the policy of kids in cages and separations at the border and leaving families separated and stranded for Joe Biden to clean up. Here's the thing. We could go on
You,
and on. At the end
yeah,
of the day, my concern is you and voting in Ohio. If whatever your little brother believes, if you believe Trump was no good, I would imagine you would want to take actions that make it less likely Trump becomes
definitely.
president
That's
again,
why I'm
right?
probably going to vote Biden. I think I
You
know
are.
where you're
Okay,
going
good.
with this.
Good, good, good.
Yeah.
All right. Excellent.
I
Excellent.
would love it if a third party candidate had a chance of winning, but I just don't
Sure.
see it happening.
No, I don't either. I don't either. All right.
Now, do you
Anthony
mind
from
if
Ohio. Yeah, go ahead. I got a bunch of
oh,
people waiting, but go
yeah,
ahead.
yeah, real quick, just because you sort of like half answered it real quick. The psychedelic question, do you think it
Yes.
should be legal for recreational purposes, not medicinal? That's my last question.
I probably am in the direction of legalize it, regulate it. Yeah, probably, and take it out of the black market.
Okay, awesome. Thank you.
Yeah. All right. Thanks so much for the call. There is Anthony. Let's take the quickest of quick breaks, and then we will be right back with more. People in my audience who sometimes struggle with sleep. You've got those habit forming prescription medications, which sometimes have side effects. You've got your herbal remedies that often do nothing. That's why the go-to can be melatonin, which is clinically proven to work and without the side effects and the grogginess. Our sponsor, Beam, makes delicious nighttime hot cocoa drinks called Dream with melatonin to help you get to sleep. Melatonin can also help correct circadian rhythm disturbances to get your schedule back on track. Like, for example, if you have jet lag, Beam's Dream Hot Cocoa with melatonin comes in great tasting flavors like mint chocolate chip, chocolate peanut butter, sea salt caramel, or caramel. Come on. No sugar added, sweetened with monk fruit, only 15 calories per serving, My favorite is cinnamon cocoa. I'll just be upfront. It's great to have before bed sometimes. It's hot, very flavorful, but not overly sweet. It's just a soothing way to wind down like an hour before going to bed. If you want to try Beam's best-selling Dream Powder, take advantage of their biggest sale of the year. Get up to 50% off for a limited time when you go to shopbeam.com/Pacman. The link is down below.